Hello, I'm Sarah Lister from Sheffield Digital, and today I'm talking to Declan Reilly, who is Head of SEO at Evoluted. How did you start in the SEO space?
So I was actually quite young when I got into SEO. I was doing my A levels when I was I guess 17, and I was doing like maths, further maths, geography, physics, and it ended up being too much. It wasn't for me. So I decided to look for an apprenticeship, and I was just scanning job sites and seeing what was out there, and I came across this three-letter acronym called SEO, and I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue what it was, but I knew I was into kind of computing and kind of analysis type stuff, and I was quite good at mathematics and things. So it kind of stood out to me as something that intrigued me. And the more I looked into it, the more I saw it was something that could kind of grow into something, especially with kind of how much people use search engines. So if you're not sure, kind of SEO stands for search engine optimization. And basically, I kind of took a punt and applied for it. And I managed to get in at an agency that was kind of just starting out. So looking back in hindsight, it was quite a risky place to start my career, probably, because it could have quite easily gone wrong, I suppose, and the agency might have kind of folded after a year or whatever. But it really worked out for me, and the company kind of grew from kind of having a small set of clients to kind of getting on more and more clients, and my responsibilities just grew and grew with that, I suppose. So yeah, that's kind of how I started off in SEO.
What steps did you take towards your position now as head of SEO?
I think one of the main things that I did was just a lot of reading, a lot of trying to immerse myself in the industry and kind of trying to understand things, and build up my knowledge so that people kind of would see me as someone to go to for help or for information. And then I guess as I did more of that, and I put a lot of effort into managing the accounts that were under my control. And as I was kind of getting better results with my clients and developing a really good relationship with them, I guess people started to see me as someone that could give them advice on how to do that in a similar way. And I really enjoyed giving that advice out and helping other people kind of come on, and helping them kind of understand more about SEO and kind of see things from their own perspective. And that kind of, I guess, my leadership kind of grew from there, and my responsibilities in kind of leading a team. Like I was able to kind of, I was given like a team of kind of 3 people to kind of work under me and kind of help guide. And I really enjoyed trying to kind of create like a good team environment, and one that kind of would give people the opportunity to kind of like learn a lot more and enjoy kind of carrying out their work. And from there, the company just kept growing, and I eventually got offered the position of head of SEO, which I was obviously a bit daunted by, but also really pleased and excited to kind of have that responsibility. And yeah, just enjoying it, really.
Have you worked in different agencies and companies? Have you moved around much, or have you been with Evoluted for a while?
I've actually only recently joined Evoluted last year, so right at the beginning of the pandemic. So it was a bit of a strange time to move jobs, to say the least. But I was really thankful that they could still take me on in what was quite a turbulent period for a lot of businesses. But before that, I worked at a company called the SEO Works, which is another Sheffield agency, for over 8 years. So that was the one that I started out as an apprentice when I was 17, and I worked there until I was 25, 26. So I had a really good time there, and that's where I really grew, I suppose, in terms of into working life, but also into becoming a manager and then heading up the department. And then I guess I've taken that experience into my new role, which is also as head of SEO at Evoluted.
So in your position now, what are you mostly doing on a day-to-day basis?
It's a lot of kind of capacity management, so making sure that the clients that we are servicing are getting the right service. So making sure that the strategies that are being laid out are kind of fit for purpose, making sure that the guys and girls that are in my team have the right tools at their disposal to kind of do the job in the best way, building out processes to help make things more efficient and make things easier, helping knowledge sharing, so kind of putting things in place to kind of allow us as a team to take things from elsewhere in the industry, but also share our own opinions, because SEO is quite a subjective kind of form of marketing. There's no kind of real kind of defined way of doing it. Google give you little tidbits here and there, but the best kind of SEO is kind of done from experience, I suppose, and kind of from knowing what can work and how best to prioritize your time.
Why does this type of work appeal to you?
I think I'm a troubleshooter at heart. I like kind of trying to solve problems, and with SEO, there's always a new problem. There's always something different, especially in an agency environment when you're working with clients from so many different industries and so many different kind of content management systems, types of websites. There's always a new problem cropping up. And I really enjoy trying to solve those problems and using kind of tools and data to my advantage to kind of help solve those problems. I guess maybe that comes back to that kind of mathematics side of my brain that kind of just likes figuring things out. And SEO is really good for that. And there's so many different things involved with it that maybe people don't realize, that kind of on the face of it could just seem like, oh, you improve your website and it helps it rank better on the search engines. But in reality, there's so many different factors that go into it, and kind of whether that's making things more technically sound so that Google can crawl your website and then index it in the best possible way, or users can use your website from a mobile point of view and use it in a kind of a fast way, so your pages are loading in the right kind of way, or whether that's writing content and it kind of gives people a chance to be creative with writing content and matching up with how your target audience is searching for things online. It really kind of, I guess, taps into a lot of different areas and lets you kind of I don't know, I guess, be creative but also analytical and technical at the same time, which kind of really fits me.
How do you stay on top of new developments in SEO?
I think when I was managing accounts and kind of trying to really kind of, I guess, forge my way in the industry, I suppose I did a lot of reading of like news websites. So Search Engine Roundtable was really good for me, just to kind of get words from the kind of the horse's mouth of what Google was saying about things, but also kind of other points from elsewhere in the industry. More recently, I've really kind of got involved with Twitter a bit more, because there's a really good SEO community on Twitter. Sometimes a little argument here or there, but it's all to try and figure out what's best, and kind of people sharing their opinions on like I said, a really subjective matter in SEO. But there's also some amazingly helpful people in SEO that are kind of willing to give up their time for free to give that guidance and to help people kind of get to the next level, or to share some insights, or to share something that they've done within their agency, almost with other agencies. So it's like agencies are almost helping each other out, even though they're competitors. It's a kind of really nice environment to be in at times.
Yeah, I've seen some really helpful posts that I think that's actually why we asked you for the interview, because I saw some really good posts that you put on either LinkedIn or Twitter, possibly both.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't do nearly enough as a lot of other people do. So it's something that I'm trying to do more of, to be honest, and trying to kind of share my insights, whatever they might be, with other people. But yeah, there's some really great people sharing stuff. And if you want to know kind of, if you want to kind of start immersing yourself in that space and you're not quite kind of sure who best to follow straight away, and kind of how to get yourself in those circles to kind of start taking that knowledge out of Twitter, then just drop me a line and I can help you get started on kind of where to start and what to read up on. A really good resource, actually, if you're looking to kind of find out what's involved in SEO and start to learn some of it, is something called learning SEO.io. It's like a really kind of detailed resource that someone called Aleda Solis created. And there's a lot there that you can go at if you kind of like self-teaching yourself things. And if you wanted to get into a kind of an SEO role at an agency, I think it's really important to show that you care and you kind of want to really specialize in SEO as a subject because of how much is involved. It's important you have at least some kind of base level knowledge of kind of what goes into Google's ranking algorithms and how you might go about it. You're not necessarily needing to become an expert to get that foot in the door, but I think there's a lot of people wanting to get that role at an agency, so it's important to help yourself stand out, I think, by doing a bit of learning beforehand.
And would that help people who have like their own little small business, like self-employed people as well, for example, do you think?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, SEO as a marketing channel is only becoming more and more prominent, and it has been becoming more and more prominent over the last kind of 5 years, and pretty much every business can benefit from appearing better in the search engine results for whatever phrase it might be that's relevant to your business. People are ultimately going to be searching online for what you're offering. So looking up ways that you can edit your website, make it better in order to rank better on the search engine is going to bring you more business ultimately if you can do it in the right way. So I'd definitely either look into how you can do it yourself, and everyone can do it because a lot of it is common sense stuff as well. But obviously, if you want to kind of do it to a higher level, then it might be worth investing in an agency or a specialist that can help you do that, I suppose.
What do you value most about working for Evoluted?
I think it's the values that the company definitely kind of has, and it's kind of people first kind of culture. There's a big emphasis and like a genuine emphasis on kind of making sure that people have a good place to work, have a good work-life balance. There's not too much pressure, but there's enough pressure to kind of challenge you. Like there's still definite ambition there to kind of grow and to provide better services for our clients and to do really good stuff. But at the same time, there's also real emphasis on helping people develop personally and move forwards in their own kind of right, so that when they do kind of eventually leave the company, because not everyone's going to stay at the same company forever, that they feel like they've had a really good time at Evoluted and they're better for that time and they've kind of moved on because of it. And I think that really kind of stands out and kind of comes from the top really, and in kind of how Ash Young, our kind of director, owner, whatever you want to call him, kind of conducts himself and kind of goes about his work, kind of really filters down into the people that have been employed by the company and therefore kind of the people that work there really. And that's probably the best thing about Evoluted. And there's a real, with that personal development, there's a lot of investment going on in kind of both with time, but also money in terms of training and supporting people in that way. Like in the last year, or in the last 6 months, to be honest, we've had a communications training course. So someone come in, do a course for the whole company. We've had a confidence training course by Kirsty Hulse, which definitely would recommend that one, just to help people kind of, I guess, get more out of their time working and feel better about themselves and how they're going about their work really. And we're also planning to take the whole marketing team down to Brighton SEO, which is kind of probably the biggest conference in the SEO space. Unfortunately, the summer of in-person event got cancelled because of the government changing the guidelines or the time frames, should we say. But we're hoping to go down in September instead.
And what parts of your job do you find challenging, and how do you approach these?
Challenging, probably kind of knowing how best to use my time, because I'm given quite an autonomous role where I can kind of make the decision myself on kind of what I impact. I guess it's about figuring out how I can have the biggest impact and the best impact, and making sure that I'm, I guess, working on things that can not just help one thing, but then kind of spiral into helping different parts of the business or different members of the team. and kind of have that kind of scale that can, I guess, create that impact. So I often feel like I've got about 100 things that I want to do, but obviously you can't do them all at once. So for me, kind of creating task lists for myself, prioritizing things.
Can you offer any advice or guidance to people who want to get started in the SEO space?
I think what I said before around kind of how there's probably plenty of people that do want to get started at an agency. It's a nice environment to work in because you get a lot of learning, you get some social aspects as well of working at somewhere that's kind of forward thinking and with like-minded people that really want to push themselves forward in a marketing aspect. So I'd say try and immerse yourself as much as you can in the industry, whether that's getting on Twitter and following the right people to get that information, or reading up on things online, or doing a course. Blue Array have got a great course if you can afford to spend. I don't think it's too much. I think it's like £300 or something like that. But that can give you a great foothold in the kind of understanding the kind of the fundamentals of search engine optimization. So I think just try and get that base level knowledge to kind of enable you to have those conversations with an agency, to show them that you've got that passion, to show them that you've got that understanding, and that you'd be willing to learn more, to take it to that next level and become an expert. I think that's what I would say if you wanted to get into SEO.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.